Hey guys, J-Man here. All right, we're doing some New Mutants talk right now. I've been getting pretty heavy into the old school Chris Claremont New Mutants. Never read it when I was younger. It didn't look appealing to me. It's nothing against them or the writers or creative team or whatever. It's just that, I was looking at a lot of X-Men stuff at the time, Spider-Man, right, Hulk, those kinds of things. I love West Coast Avengers. They're cool. I don't know when that started. Defenders. My favorite teams were kind of West Coast Avengers and Defenders, the real Defenders with Doctor Strange. So I also liked X-Men, the video game, a lot. And that kind of got me into X-Men. I didn't read the comics as much, but I'm going back and looking at them again. Any comics that I did pick up during this time for X-Men were the Chris Claremont X-Men comics, really. Giant Size X-Men is just my favorite one-off comic ever, I think. And then that entire section is great. So we get into New Mutants. Now I do have number one in physical form as well. It's just bagged and boarded, so I didn't pull it out for this talk. Last time we talked about New Mutants, I discussed the graphic novel, which I thought was bloody great. It was just awesome. And then there was the first appearance, I think, of Karma was in like one of the Marvel team-ups with Spider-Man and Fantastic Four. Is that on here? I'm looking at this through a digital collection. Yes. So that was Marvel team-up Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four. That was number 100. This was a great introduction to Karma also. And then the graphic novel was great. So I'm just flipping through here. Yeah, so New Mutants number one. So they're together here. I liked what I'm really liking about New Mutants starting this again now, and this actually leads into probably why I didn't like it as a kid or when I was younger. It focuses more on relationships of the characters. So it's very character driven. This is not like an action driven thing, sort of like what, I always pictured or thought of, West Coast Avengers or X-Men. You were guaranteed a battle. Incredible Hulk, you picked up an issue of Hulk, you were guaranteed a super battle. And that's obviously very appealing and very cool for a young guy reading comics, right? This sort of character stuff, you're just like, I don't care. Like, they're not in their costumes a lot. That's another thing where like, they're not in their costumes. Well, what is this? But now, as a grown-ass man, going back and reading this, you're like, wow, this is pretty good. So I'm really liking these a lot. I'm definitely going to continue it on. I'm going to try to collect up as many original issues of New Mutants as I can. 98's not going to happen, right? But I don't know. I'm not gonna lie and tell you that I hate Rob Liefeld, because I do like Rob Liefeld. I think he's a great, he's a fun person. I listen to his podcast. He's very energetic. And I gotta tell you, in the 90s, when all that stuff happened, when it all went down with like cable and then Image and all that, I was in. I bought everything. So I'm not gonna bag on that, and I've got an entire X-Force little section over here with like some of the Rob Liefeld stuff in there as well. So I'm not going to lie and tell you, I hated it and I thought it was crap or whatever, just to try to, somewhat, be cool in my dislike for it. But I'm very confident in saying that I don't think the stories were maybe as good as the ones I'm reading now. I could be wrong. So if we've got Rob Liefeld mega fans, don't beat me up. Remember, I still own everything and I bought every Image thing. And if you hate Rob Liefeld, well, then you're just going to agree with me anyways. These stories I'm really getting into a lot. So, I mean, right here, we go into the Danger Room. Oh, I love Daniel Moonstar. Probably my favorite character. So they're introduced to the Danger Room here. And they take turns fighting some monsters, so that's pretty cool. And then basically they're just showing off what things they can do. And the Danger Room's really screwing them over, because they're just having a lot of tough time trying to figure out how to beat these things. And Charles is like really sending out things that are opposite to their powers. So it's like, like this creature here, it's like Sunspot tries to beat it up, but like his strength and everything doesn't really matter. So just interesting things like that. And then it ends off here. I know there's like great conversations here with Danny and Rain. So it's really cool. and you're introduced to Gyrick, who's a douchebag, and they basically end off with the promise of the Sentinels in the next issue, and Danny is fighting this creature in a danger room, and all bets are off. The safeties are off. This is like friggin' Star Trek when in the holodeck. Next cover is, whoa, that's pretty sick. So the Sentinels are here. Again, Danny is, who I love. I just love Danny. She's like trapped in the danger room, trying to escape. This great art here. And this is these digital copies are very nicely cleaned up, I gotta tell you. And then again, we cut here to the mall, and they're just hanging out at the mall talking to people. I'm finding all this really interesting, and I know for sure that if I had read this as a kid, I would have turned this off big time. I would have turned it off large, because I can just be like, oh, I don't care about you going to the mall right now. But now looking back, I'm really excited about reading this. And you've got Shaw here. How do you not know that this guy's just like a villain? Like, look at these guys. Look at the art here. This is great. Like, they're the villains. There's not like, oh, I wonder if they're good guys. So yeah, and then we're introduced. There's the government agents show up, and the Sentinels show up to try to capture them, and there's just a battle. So there is still a lot of fighting in this as well. So there's still some good battling going on with the Sentinels. There's a great part here where it's gonna be hard to show. Oh, maybe I can zoom it in. Where Sunspot accidentally like nails this Sentinel, and he falls like through the mall. Whoa, that's pretty heavy damage. I like that a lot. Kind of reminds me when in X-Men, the movies, where they went to the mall. I wonder if that's where that came from. Or, whatever. They can go to a mall anytime. So, a lot of teamwork in this as well. I'm liking how they team up to take down Sentinels and fight. So I like that. Like, Karma possesses Cannonball, because Sam's being taken off, and then she possesses him and stuff to help out. So it's pretty cool. Next one's called Nightmares. So I'm going to talk about the next one as well. This is great. This one was very strong, very strong. Danny, again, who I said is my favorite. This like solidifies it. Plus I read those number 40 issues where she was fighting that gunslinger guy. I did a review on that. I'll probably go through all of the New Mutants comics as we go. So she's developed, her powers are, she takes your nightmares, manifests them. Now, at this point, I did not know, at this point, they don't take on really physical forms, but the Brood Queen, who is in this, I guess she's like making it happen in physical form. It's weird. It's very weird, but it's really good. So anyways, Danny's fight. Oh, here's the first shot of the bear, which will be important to later on. Danny wakes up. She's in a bad place right now, and she's just like, I suck. I'm putting people in danger. And this is crazy. Look, she's contemplating suicide. I don't know what year this is, but it's definitely mid 80s, I would think. And and they're talking about now how it's like, oh, these comics, now we're getting into, we're delving into these issues and all that. Whatever. Like, these older comics have dealt with a lot of stuff as well, and this is pretty, this is pretty awesomely done here too. We got Banshee. Yeah, we got Ileana. Yay! This is where she's still cute and not a badass Magic, who we see. Where is she? Right there. So we've got Banshee in here, who's wicked. Karma and Danny. I keep wanting to say Mirage, but they call her Psyche here. I guess Psyche. I don't know if Psyche's a better name. Psyche or Mirage? What's a better name for Danny? Let me know in the comments. I'm more used to Mirage, only because that's what I'm used to. I don't know. Anyways, I'll just say Danny. So they're having a little conversation with the two of them, so that's really nice. Sam is back practicing his powers. Now, Professor X, something's going on with Professor X. What is happening with Professor X? He's acting really weird. Well, that's because the Brood Queen is in him. Karma possesses all the guys to meet up. They go through this tunnel. So this is kind of cool. And even when she possesses like Sam, he's like, why are you doing that? Like, I didn't give you authorization to possess me. Like, you can't just do that. She's like, well, I needed to. So already it's just a lot of like interaction with the characters, which is cool. Danny's fighting the Brood Queen, and she's just really ugly. They did a good job of making the Brood. They're just gross. Yeah, so you are still getting a lot of costumed fighting action. Costume fighting action, CFA? Costume fight, sure, CFA. Or F, fighting in costume. How about FIC? Fighting in costume. I just made that term up now, FIC. So you do get some FICs in here, which is cool. And they're just beating up the Brood Queen. So they realize that she's like a real life thing. And then you're like, oh my god, what's going on? And then the next thing in this collection, this is from Comixology. The next thing is the Uncanny X-Men 167, and I did read that as well. And this is where the X-Men come in with the New Mutants, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with Professor X. They're fighting each other, kitties there. There's a great fight with the New Mutants and the X-Men. The X-Men are still the X-Men, so you're not going to really beat them up. There's Professor X looking very creepy. Yeah, so I'm not going to go heavily into this because this is technically an X-Men book, not really a New Mutants thing. But there's a lot of FICs in here, a lot of battling here and battling each other, which is really cool. Wolverine in my favorite costume. This is the brown costume, which is my favorite. Good fights in here, to be honest. And then they're like, well, we can just kill him. And Professor X is like, please kill me. And Cyclops is like, no, we're going to find another way. All right, so anyways, I'm not going to go much more into it than that. There's some more stuff here with Nightcrawler and Storm, but that's all X-Men related. So I'm going to stop there. That's as far as that I've read up to. But yeah, really enjoying New Mutants a lot more than I thought I ever would. So let me know in the comments if you are a New Mutants fan. If so, what do you think? Are these issues really, really good? Or do they get better? Or do they get worse? And let me know, Karma, Mirage or Psyche? What do you think is better? All right, guys, that's it. Until next time.